Burkina Faso, a West African country, and Russia have signed a memorandum of understanding for construction of a nuclear power plant in the landlocked Sahel West African state. The nuclear power plant will enable the country to meet its energy needs. The deal follows a request by Burkina Faso's leader, Captain Ibrahim Traoré, to Russian President Putin during the Russian-African Summit in St. Petersburg. Traoré, who seized power in a military coup in September 2022, has moved closer to Russia as its relationship with former colonial power France soars. While Russia has moved to break Western isolation over the Ukraine conflict and expand its influence in Africa. Burkina Faso, a country of over 20 million people, has an installed power generation capacity of just over 420 megawatts. The country, like neighbors Mali and Niger, which are also strengthening ties with Russia particularly on military cooperations, are struggling to stay afloat. The Memorandum of Understanding signed in Moscow does not give details of the proposed nuclear power plant, its funding, and a timeline for the construction. However, it was said that the deal will help develop nuclear infrastructure and technology for medical and agricultural applications and implementations in Burkina Faso, whilst, among other things, provide assistance to Burkina Faso in nuclear safety and security. If this project is implemented, the country will become the third on the continent to have a nuclear power plant. Currently in Africa, one plant is built on French reactors and operates in South Africa. The second is being built in Egypt by Rosatom, a Russian company, and these, if successfully implemented, will become the third in the continent. At first glance, this news may seem absurd. Burkina Faso is one of the poorest countries in the world, with a population of more than 20 million people. The total generation capacity is about 380 megawatts or 420 at most. In 2021, the total electricity production amounted to 1.76 billion kilowatts and the consumption was 2.64 billion kilowatts. With such volumes, the nuclear power plant looks strange at the very least. According to experts, the plant is too large for such consumption volumes. In addition, the launching of a nuclear power plant will require creating or scaling up a national energy industry. This means building power transmission lines and resolving the issue of dispatching and distribution. In the end, the entire capacity of the national power system is not enough to balance the generation. Finally, there is the issue of personnel. If a nuclear power plant is built, its only use may be to supply foreign markets, that is exporting electricity to neighboring countries. Here, it is appropriate to evaluate the entire region, the state of the economy of the countries with which Burkina Faso borders. In a bid to see to the actualization of this project, the government of Burkina Faso, chaired by the president, has decided to establish an atomic energy agency in the country. According to the president of Burkina Faso, the creation of the Burkinian Atomic Agency will ensure the energy independence of Burkina Faso, the industrialization of the country, and facilitate access to electricity throughout the country. In 2024, the Burkina Faso government passed a bill giving privileges and immunities to expert and international atomic agency officials who will support construction of its first nuclear power plant. At the end of March 2024, Russia, through Rosatom and the Ministry of Energy, Mines and Carriers of Burkina Faso, signed a roadmap establishing corporations in the peaceful use of atomic energy. The document defines concrete steps to create the human resources of the West African country in the field of peaceful atom, the development of nuclear infrastructure, and the formation in Burkina Faso of a positive public opinion regarding nuclear energy. This followed a memorandum of understanding signed in 2023 on the construction of a nuclear power plant in Burkina Faso. The memorandum of understanding covers training and education in the field of nuclear energy, assessment and development of nuclear infrastructure, and promoting positive public opinions about nuclear energy. The document set out the framework for cooperation in these areas to support the development of a national program for the peaceful use of nuclear energy as earlier stated. The Memorandum of Understanding specified concrete steps to build human resources for Burkina Faso's nuclear sector. Effort would also include cooperation between educational institutions, joint short-term educational programs, teaching trainings, development of educational and scientific literature, and student exchanges. The parties also intend to determine the current needs for the development of Burkina Faso's nuclear infrastructure. This work will follow an environmental impact assessment recommendations and Rosatom best practices. The cooperation document on positive public opinions include activities aimed at raising public awareness of the benefit of a nuclear technology, and non-energy applications of nuclear energy, particularly in medicine and agriculture. While South Africa is the only African nation currently producing nuclear power commercially, more countries on the continent are exploring nuclear energy as a means to meet up their energy demands. Egypt and Nigeria have signed deals with Russia to build nuclear power plants, and Kenya has announced plans for its first nuclear power plant. This demonstrates a growing interest in the nuclear energy across Africa. Currently in the world, about 30 countries are considering, planning, or starting nuclear power programs, and a further 20 or so countries have at some point expressed an interest. In West, Central, and Southern Africa, some of these countries have expressed interest or are currently building their own nuclear power plants, one of which is Nigeria, Ghana, Senegal, Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, Zambia, Namibia, Rwanda, and Ethiopia. Others are scattered in other continents. Despite the large number of these emerging countries, they are not expected to contribute very much to the expansion of nuclear capacity in the foreseeable future. The main growth will come in countries where the technology is already well established. However, in the longer term, the trend to urbanization in less developed countries will greatly increase the demand for electricity, and especially those supplied by baseload plants such as nuclear. The pattern of energy demand in these countries will become more like that of Europe, North America, and Japan, with Burkina Faso taking the bold step to construct its own nuclear power plant. It is clear that other African countries will also toe the same line. However, the problem lies in the West. If they are going to support the development of a nuclear power plant by Russia in a small African country like Burkina Faso, we do not know. However, the construction of a nuclear power plant stands out as one of the greatest plans Burkina Faso has ever taken in its history. Hopefully it comes to fruition. Guys, do well to drop your honest comment, tell us what you think, don't forget to subscribe and share. Thank you.